Salutations YouTube, welcome back to another video talking about the controversy between sunnyv2 and Mr. Beast. Today is going to be very good in the sense of this video is actually going to be in really... It's going to be not in better quality, but it's going to be in better shape than a lot of my other previous controversial videos have been. So this one's going to be going over sunnyv2's video first, and then I'm going to use Balblax's videos to look at the Twitter comments and stuff like that, seeing people respond to it, which I'm getting really good at finding the in-between. But this one is really hard to see the in-between with, because it really doesn't seem good for sunnyv2's aspect of it. So, I digress. Let me play his video, his 9-minute video. This video is going to be roughly around 40 minutes long, as I'm going to be going over a lot of topics, and even in some cases political. This video is not about politics. I want to make sure that is actually emphasized and known, though politics is involved because of the fact that the political climate does change the mentality of people online, and the online climate is something we need to look out for. So I digress. I'm going to play the video. Hope you guys like this video responding to sunnyv2's. Like it if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it. Let me know the reason for so in the comment section below, and I'll see you all in a second.
The Chris Tyson situation could become a complete disaster for Mr. Beast's brand. However, it may also provide some unique benefits. So let's begin by going over the drama before explaining exactly how this will impact the Mr. Beast channel. In mid-2022, fans began to notice that Chris Tyson was changing. In the early days, he represented the quintessential southern gun and truck-loving dude. Yet beginning in March 2022, Chris began to display increasingly feminine traits, making tweets such as "I finally got my nails done at a nail tech." Additionally, Chris would highlight that his facial appearance had changed significantly since the start of the pandemic, which accompanied another post reading, "Okay, so in 4 different customs I had to prove I was myself because I, quote, look nothing like my passport pic, so much that I'm considering updating my passport. Do you see any resemblance?" Prompting replies such as, "You went from man to boy." Chris responded by stating, "Nah, to be honest, I just really started taking my mental health seriously and eating better." Yet his Twitter photos kept insinuating that Chris was becoming more feminine, with this same kind of look showing up in his Mr. Beast appearances. For example, on the 6th of January 2023, Beast Reacts uploaded a video titled "I strapped a GoPro to a fish," in which Chris dressed in a way that prompted comments such as, "Chris has been adopting more and more traits that remind me of my grandmother." Okay, so some people just gonna ignore Chris's nails? Chris had to have lost a bet. The look is getting wild. The response to the video then prompted countless viral TikToks, such as this one with 700,000 likes, stating, "How did Chris go from this to this?" While others even made the claim that Carl had turned him gay. Now, this was pretty ridiculous, as Carl isn't even that feminine, and Chris had come out as bisexual years before he and Carl had even met. The true catalyst for Chris Tyson's feminization instead seemed to have come from his marriage. In January 2022, Chris would post a photo with his wife to his Instagram, yet after this, the family photo stopped altogether. Fans also noticed that he'd removed his wedding ring, with the ring's absence correlating perfectly with the very first post in which he'd painted his nails. Chris confirmed the split in a post from March 2023 reading, "For a little over a year now, me and Katie have been separated," with this also confirming that Chris's transformation began as soon as his marriage came to an end. Chris went from lighting campfires and raising a family with his beautiful wife to now trying to be a wife with his man buns and long nails. As the criticism continued to pile, Chris announced that he'd be taking a break from social media. And while there was a possibility that Chris would make efforts to return to his former self, he'd rather do the opposite and double down on his feminine image, showing up to the Kids' Choice Awards looking like this, before making the announcement that he'd been doing HRT for approximately 2 months, which according to a quick Google search is the medical process for changing genders. Chris would expand on this by stating, "Informed consent HRT saved my and many others' lives. The hurdles GNC people have to jump through to get life-saving gender-affirming healthcare in a first-world country is wild to me. Just let people make informed decisions about their own bodies," which...
Okay, before the rest of the video continues, this is important because of the political climate to mention. I'm not going to bring politics into it, but the mental state of queer individuals, LGBTQ+ in general. 75% of us have gone through mental thoughts such as suicide and or harming ourselves, and most of us are severely depressed. And it's because of the political climate around us and most people expecting us, such as Trump supporters and Republicans, such as Ron DeSantis going around and saying queer people are rapists. They make other people expect us to do the exact same thing, such as raping innocent people and or raping children, when in reality that's not happening. And with that, on the side of, for you straight people who are part of sunnyv2's, like, I guess not transphobic audience, but you don't like Chris because of his transition, or you don't like trans people because, or like in general LGBTQ plus people because you think they're weak and they can't handle criticism, I'll show you real criticism with the Bow Blacks video. Now, I digress, but you try being a straight person, married to a gay man, and raising a child with, say, said gay man, but the entire time you're straight and you don't know up until you're at least 5 years into the marriage, the child is 5 years old, and now you figured out that you're straight and you like vagina, so now you want to disengage from the relationship and move on. And if you don't, guess what's going to happen? This is psychologically proven, by the way. This happens in most of these cases. Let's say that, you keep that relationship going. Well, guess what? That relationship is going to go and go and go for as long as it possibly can withstand, but it's not going to stand much because your anger at yourself and your frustrations with your own body dysmorphia and your own sexual identity is going to cause you to get irritated with the position you put yourself in, which is going to cause your actions and reactions to your two individuals, your child and your wife or husband. Those actions are going to be a lot more negative and condescending in tone and stuff like that, which is going to cause a lot more arguments and violence within the few individuals of that said family. Then let's go into a relationship with Chris, right? Imagine being a straight, or imagine thinking you're straight for super long, then you marry a woman, you have sex with this woman, you get a child with this woman, and then you realize that maybe I was gay. That's a really hard position to be put in because you don't know what to do. You can leave the family and never come back, which is the most irresponsible move, or you can be responsible just like Chris did and decide to go through hormone replacement therapy, make himself a female, enjoy his life as trans, but even though he's not married to his wife anymore, he's still a father for that child. He's still a father for that child, no matter if he is now going by she. That child forever is going to look at that person as their father, even if they are called differently now. That is something you guys need to realize, especially if the child is risen to think that way. It is not going to negatively impact the child. Psychotherapy can prove that.
Received a positive response from both Carl and Mr. Beast, who wrote, "Got you, I did one more heart than Carl because I'm a better friend." While his co-workers expressed positivity, others weren't so welcoming. There goes a father figure the kid won't ever be able to look up to. Hard times create strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. Weak man times. Chris responded to this comment by stating, "This is just more dog whistling that somehow trans and GNC folks aren't safe around kids. Tucker begs for me to come back when I leave for like 2 days to film. He is so loved and happy. Kids aren't born with hate, it's taught by people like you, and my child will only know love. I know I'm going to be a great parent, and so is every other person who puts the love of their child before everything. I made this decision because I wanted to show up as my best and happiest self for him. In a way, this was for Tucker." Chris's response received some positivity such as, "I'm convinced you're an amazing father. Tucker is lucky to have you and also lucky to have all of those who surround and support you in his life, as well as I adore that. I'm glad you made that decision. It's so much easier to be a parental figure when you're not struggling with dysphoria, yet he'd also receive an equal amount of backlash. You ripped apart your family and took a father figure away from your son just so you could paint your nails and act zesty. Pathetic. He will get torn apart at school, won't want to have friends around his house. A life full of difference and being alone. Must have missed the point in that tweet. How's this for him when you're depriving him of a father figure although Chris wasn't altered by these comments, as he'd once again reiterate his certainty in a new post reading, "It's never too late to start being yourself," which received praise from MrBeast as well as Nolan and Carl. However, these comments also added extra fuel to the fire. In a few years, look back at this thread and remember they were never your friends. Only yes men cowards. Hope you come out of this safe. MrBeast responded to this with a simple opinion irrelevant ratio, to which the original commenter would state, "I have 30 followers, so go ahead and ratio me. I'll still rest easy knowing that I'm not a coward who idly sits by watching my friend ruin his own life." In some ways, it was nice to see the boys standing up for Chris on Twitter. However, the situation has already begun to change the dynamic within the videos. For example, in a recent livestream titled "Opening 1,000 Mystery Art Boxes," Chris would once again dress in quite a feminine way, and while everybody participated as usual, the energy and vibe didn't feel nearly as smooth as it normally does. It felt as though there was an unaddressed elephant in the room, and therefore everybody was in their head, as opposed to being in the present moment enjoying each other's company. Maybe everybody was simply too busy opening packages, but Chris did make these bizarre jokes about Jimmy being female, making him incredibly uncomfortable.
Oh my god, Jimmy, look, they drew you! Jimmy, they drew you so well. It looks just like you.
Oh, yes.
Oh my god, it's Jimmy!
How did fan art? This is what we were looking for. Be brave, be honest, be kind, Mr. Beast. That is my tagline.
Becoming even weirder when each member started to pay each other compliments.
Hey, nice shirt. Thanks, dude. Nice shirt.
Hey, nice shirt.
Thanks, dude. Nice shirt.
Thanks. Nice shirt.
Nice shoes.
For the most part,
Undoubtedly, I do agree with Sunny on the aspect that Jimmy was uncomfortable, but I think the reasons are much different. Until he explains why, we should not speak for him. And if you do, you do it like this. In my personal opinion, I think Jimmy was uncomfortable because of the scenario that he was involved in. What is this scenario? Let me explain. Okay. His closest friend that he loves dearly has now gone fully through hormone replacement therapy and is now considered a woman. His family that he loves very, very much, he probably feels a little bit awkward for. Jimmy probably feels a little bit awkward for. Then, in this specific unboxing video, Jimmy was uncomfortable because that joke was made at a wrong time when Jimmy knows his audience is mostly children. That kind of joke is a joke you make behind the camera, not really in front of the camera. Wrong place, wrong time. That's an opinion. That is an opinion that doesn't have much to stand behind it, but nonetheless, it is an opinion mentioned as such and treated as one, not as if it's factual. sunnyv2 is about to say Mr. Beast was highly uncomfortable for his own reasons, but he never necessarily states it in his own opinion.
the live stream was devoid of awkward moments. However, it would act as fodder for another 100 million views worth of drama and criticism. Chris likely believes that people will slowly adapt to his new appearance over time, but is this really going to happen? Well, maybe. It's difficult to say as the situation is fairly unique, especially when considering Chris's reputation and influence. However, if Chris continues to transition, would it be unreasonable to say that he could jeopardize some of the personality traits which made him a successful member in the first place? Perhaps the opposite will happen, and he'll instead pick up new personality traits that better resonate with the current Mr. Beast audience. This was put forward in many comments supportive of Chris, who implied that there'll be millions of queer kids who look up to him, although this doesn't necessarily mean that it'll add any value to the videos. Mr. Beast has likely cultivated a massive LGBT audience, all of whom are already watching anyway, and if we've learned anything from Hollywood in recent years, it's that adding over-the-top LGBT characters for the sake of relatability rarely works as intended, and is often nothing more than a distraction from the premise of the movie or video. On top of
I'd say let that sink in. I have a comment about it, and the comment is, it's a pretty stupid thing to say. Just because somebody is LGBT doesn't mean they're acting over the top. Just because somebody is taking hormone replacement therapy doesn't mean they're acting over the top. Sonny, you do realize what you implied, right? Or do you not care? Because that is most likely the case. And if you don't care, I guess dub for you for now, but wait until that 10,000 views that you're losing almost daily right now becomes 20,000. Wait till that 20,000 becomes 50,000, and then your content starts to die off, and then you're not making money anymore because that's all you seem to care for. Hypotheses? It is so. But there's a little bit of information to say that that could be the case, but there's not enough to say that that is most likely the case.
It can be uncomfortable and unrelatable for the silent majority, although as we have seen, a situation like Chris's does have the potential to create an otherworldly amount of discussion, which could be seen as a benefit for the MrBeast brand.
Drama is good for growth, 100%. That would be an easy way to up my
So
base
you're
if
a
I got it,
Keemstar
bro.
The problem is this type of situation is probably the last thing that MrBeast wants to attract, as he's forced to agree with Chris's position, as he has no way of manipulating the situation without being painted as the bad guy. It's a lose-lose situation for MrBeast. I think Jimmy is in an inescapable situation. If he kicks out Chris, cancelled. If he don't, his channel will die for real. An inescapable situation is a pretty good way of describing the drama, which is also why it deserves the harsh label of being a nightmare. Jimmy has no option but to publicly express acceptance of Chris's transition, as silence or even worse, disapproval would come with obvious severe repercussions. However, in accepting Chris's transition, Jimmy implies that this will be the new normal within the content, thus annoying a different group of people, many of whom will never express their true feelings and may rather simply click on fewer MrBeast videos. If this is the case, Jimmy has no option but to accept this fate, as removing Chris from the videos in any kind of way could create an even more severe media firestorm. The only clean solution, should things go south, might be for Chris to resign himself, and even then rumors and bad press will be unavoidable. Whether it be arrogance or ignorance, Chris seems oblivious to how this whole thing might impact Jimmy, forgetting that he achieved his current level of success by avoiding this exact type of drama.
So that's the wrap up of that video. Balbuck's video is going to be coming in a second. But I'm going to dress up in support for Chris. Okay, now that I'm dressed up, you're telling me, Sunny, all it takes is to do the equivalent of dressing feminine and almost slightly looking like a girl from a distance. That's all it takes, is dressing like this to kill my channel? Well, I guess we'll see, because that's not going to happen. You know why? Because I'm all about supporting people, no matter what their personal opinions are, unless their personal opinions can get other people harmed, or harm themselves. That's what I'm about. Not a lot of people are, but that's kind of a nothing burger opinion-ish, though it's kind of important to mention. So I'm going to get the Balblax video pulled up, and I'll respond along with the comments, so that way this video isn't as long as 40 minutes. I want it to be about there, but I don't want it to be there. For those of you who don't know where I'm getting the numbers about how much he's losing per day, it's solemnly on the beginning of this video, because Balblax literally shows the actual trending page and stuff like that. So let me,
Twitter,
not trending page,
due to a
but
controversial video he uploaded.
Oops, I played it too
the
quick.
YouTuber Sunny.
Pause. Bam. Down there in the bottom corner, you can see every single day before the video. And on the 13th and the 14th, the video came out, and then he started losing 10k subs each. He lost what he gained, and he's losing more. For those of you who are saying Sunny's content is not dying, it's in the process of starting to die. I'm not saying it's dead yet, but it is most certainly bleeding. So instead of beating a bleeding animal, I'm going to go ahead and talk about why we should just leave it alone. No, I'm kidding, but seriously.
He2 is losing subscribers and trending on Twitter
That's so bad.
due to a controversial video he uploaded a couple days ago talking about how MrBeast's friend Chris making the decision to start hormone replacement therapy might end up damaging MrBeast's brand. I already made a video laughing at how absurd that video was, so now that you guys have seen my reaction to it, let's check out everybody else's reaction on Twitter. Nicholas Diorio posts a clip of the video and captions it by saying, "I just spit my drink out laughing. Chris really didn't stop and think about how his usage of HRT to be more comfortable in his body would affect MrBeast's bottom line. Laughing my fucking ass off."
Only clean solution should things go south might be for Chris to resign himself, and even then rumors and bad press will be unavoidable. Whether it be arrogance or ignorance, Chris seems oblivious to how this whole thing might impact Jimmy, forgetting that he achieved his current level of success by avoiding this exact type of drama.
AugierFC quote tweets him and says, "Yeah, Chris transitioning will have no impact on MrBeast's career. I'm surprised sunnyv2 doesn't know this, given that his whole channel is explaining the rise and fall of people, but social media just does not care about anything that you think they do." Hopper says, "sunnyv2's video is gross. I don't consume MrBeast content, but calling an actual real person an over-the-top LGBTQ character like it was a brand choice is insane. Also, using transphobic morons' comments on Twitter to validate this weird essay he pulled out of his ass." Harley TBS says, "This is one of the most embarrassingly invasive and weird videos I've ever seen. What the fuck, lol?" The Beak responds by saying, "A common trend you'll see in Sunny's videos is that everything has to be about YouTube and the grind. If you ever do anything for your personal enrichment, you are always wrong apparently. It's really weird." Harley responds, "He's got this increasingly terminally online mentality that everything and anything you do has to be for views, or else it was a waste of your time, and will ruin your entire career, your friends' careers, and your life. He needs a reality check." Elvis the Alien says, "What a horrible piece of shit video this is. Why would MrBeast care at all about appealing to transphobes?" Zeppy responds by saying, "The video is more than that. It talks about how MrBeast has been put in an inescapable situation, where in all outcomes he will lose a fraction of his audience because of how Chris decided to handle this." Elvis responds, "Why would MrBeast, literally the most successful creator on the planet, care about losing transphobic viewers?" The Quartering says, "Everyone shitting and pissing themselves over the sunnyv2 video, pointing out the obvious fact that the MrBeast channel will have to deal with the bullshit over the trans stuff, are kind of proving his point. MrBeast has a very young, impressionable audience. If the person just goes about shit as usual, it will be fine. MrBeast brand has done an amazing job of remaining mostly apolitical and non-controversial. I totally respect the dude riding with his friend, but the culture war bullshit will now taint his video comment sections, etc." He then shows a picture of the opening 1000 mystery art boxes stream from the MrBeast 2 channel and says, 144,000 dislikes. That's likely more than all other MrBeast videos combined.
Exactly. Not only does MrBeast have to worry about politics being brought into his comment section full of children, but now sunnyv2 has to worry about his channel dying because of him making his fans put themselves in the comment section of MrBeast's video because of sunnyv2's implication of the video and the element around Chris. This controversy never would have happened if sunnyv2 didn't do the video. At all. It would not have happened. I don't want anybody telling me different. The facts show it. Before sunnyv2 made this video, nobody cared about Chris. Not really. The few people who did were very small. And now there's an entire video of MrBeast's that is just kind of corrupted with politics and talk of politics, when we know most of the audience who are going to see those comments are in between the ages of 9 to 18. Averagely. I'm sorry, but like, no. That's bad. That's not a good thing.
Asmongold says, "How is it that people have nothing better to do than micromanage and maud about the lifestyles of content creators? It's exhausting how opinionated internet users are about the personal lives of people they'll never meet. Holy fuck." Marsupial Gamer responds to him by saying,
And like, I can be opinionated if the person you're talking about is like a pedophile or a zoophile or somebody who's committed sexual assault crimes or something like that. But Chris hasn't. So why do we care? His kid is being raised by the dad still. And that dad is Chris, no matter if Chris has a vagina in between his legs or not. Sexually, genetically speaking, his body is a man. But he's taken the therapy, so he's considered woman. There's a difference between sex and gender. Gender is what we call ourselves. It's the nickname for sex. And it has a larger variety of what we could be, and it helps us find out who we are better. Sex is the definition of whether or not we're born male or female right at the start of birth, because there is no in-between. I know this Same with most of the trans people. But that's the thing. They're changing their gender, not their sex. They know this. They're making themselves feel more comfortable in their body. Let them decide to do that, and leave them alone. If your criticism over trans people is literally just, oh, you're taking away your balls, you're less of a man, fuck off, because that's the point. They don't want to be a man. Why do you care about them being a man? And why don't you be a man yourself and not care about a dude removing their balls? Okay? That's none of your business. Literally zero. How they do it behind a door being closed does not matter. Why do you care? How I do it doesn't matter. How you have sex doesn't matter. What you do during it doesn't matter. So why is it common to talk about? Why are you guys bringing it up as if we are the ones talking about it when you're half of the time starting the conversation? And most of the time, because of political arguments. It's really fucking stupid. If you don't want trans people to seem over-sexualized, then let's not talk about like our sexuality online for a couple of months and see what happens. I'm genuinely curious. Let's all collectively, the LGBTQ plus community, decide to not talk about our sexuality at all for 1 month and see what happens. Let's study. Let's do this. We're not actually going to do this, but if we did, I bet you the result would be, oh my God, thank God all the trans and the queer people are gone from all the hardcore Trump supporting Republicans, and the Democrats would be like, now we gotta fight for them harder. And it's just gonna make situations worse. For everybody. Which is why we're not gonna do it. Because we know this. But I bet you half of you didn't run that situation through your head. But that's a nothing burger for the point of sunnyv2's video. That entire statement that I was just making about politics, yeah, kind of a nothing burger for a sunnyv2 video.
This whole channel. What's so special about this one video among the hundreds of other videos where he does the same thing? Zach responds, I was critical of his video regarding Ninja and another Minecraft YouTuber for the same reason. I think in those videos as well as this one, Sunny inaccurately paints a shift in lifestyle or priorities as a failure by reducing a person down to YouTube analytics. Volpine Voice responds to Asmongold by saying crazy, and then showing that he's done reaction videos on sunnyv2 content.
And speaking of the reaction videos on the sunnyv2 content, let's talk about those 3 sunnyv2 videos that are pulled up on the screen right now. First one, how DaBaby became the most hated rapper ever. I have not seen that one yet, so I cannot actually validate too much criticism that I have over the video, besides I've been hearing it was really terribly done. That's as far as I know, so I cannot stand on that one that much. I watched the Boogie2988 Deserves His Failure video. That video was terribly done. Like, actually. Boogie2988 has a personality disorder, and there's not really much he can do about it. People like me who have personality disorders don't have much opportunity to be able to change that, especially even if we're given that opportunity, because it's a psychological disorder that has to do with the way our brain is wired and built neurologically. You can't really change that unless you take years of your life trying to change it over a very specific way that only psychotherapists can assist you with, in which case 70% of the United States of America does not have access to, because 67% of America is broke. So broke to where they can't pay $30 to $80 an hour just to talk to a psychotherapist. That's way too expensive. I do genuinely believe everybody in the United States deserves a psychotherapist, as everybody deserves a doctor, and they both should be free. They should both be government paid. Yes, we will have to deal with taxes being increased a little bit, but guess what? Everybody's going to be making a lot more money, and money is going to be a lot more evenly spread and distributed throughout the United States of America if we follow the system. But we all have to agree to this system in order for it to even work in the first place. So starting off with, let's find a way to agree with this system, because in the end of the day, it doesn't seem like many of you do, despite it being right in between the middle ground of both political opinions. But I do digress. This video is not about politics. So, when it comes down to sunnyv2, my main criticism over you, sir, is that you shit out this video with a nothing burger, saying just because you said essentially throughout the entire video that just because Chris is going through becoming a trans person, that's all it's going to take for Jimmy to lose subscribers. Since when? Jimmy's fandom has already been LGBTQ+, like you said. Your video feels more like a troll than it is actually anything genuine, which is why I know for the fact that you care more about statistics and stuff like that than you do actually making a good video. The quality of the video was great. I am not going to deny that. You worked your ass off, or your editor worked their asses off editing that video. But that doesn't mean the video was good in context. That doesn't mean the video was good in writing. In fact, the writing and the script for the video was absolutely shit. What was your thought? Genuinely, Sunny, with, oh, Chris is making Mr. Beast uncomfortable in one video and made a mistake, so now everybody hates Chris, when the only reason why everybody started doing this in the first place is because of you making the video. If you had just stopped and canceled the upload, none of this would have happened. You would still be gaining subscribers, and you wouldn't have to worry about it. But now you're losing 10K almost every single day as of the video in Easter. Or as of the video. So, not really much I can say about that. Besides, good luck coming out of it alive, because you're killing yourself. And kind of quickly, too. I watched the Guava Juice video, and I saw his comment, and I saw Guava Juice's comment. Guava, I do agree with a lot of what sunnyv2 did on that video. But clearly, he didn't care about Chris, which this is another point that I want to bring up. The next video is perfectly fine. He did an absurd amount of research on Guava Juice, but specifically for Chris, nope, didn't do a lot at all, whatsoever. It's almost as if sunnyv2 is transphobic himself, and I'm going to @ him so he can respond to this video and my assessment and my hypotheses of sunnyv2's personality. I genuinely believe sunnyv2 might actually be a little bit homophobic or transphobic. Not homophobic, sorry, transphobic. Because anytime it comes down to the subjects of transgenders, he's been harsh. I can understand being harsh for criticism, but there's also a difference between criticism and bullying, and low-key, this is kind of bullying. This isn't even criticism. This is saying, hey guys, look, he's making Mr. Beast uncomfortable, go attack him. That's the underground psychological manipulation style of what you accidentally did with that video, Sunny. A lot of your fans are attacking Mr. Beast on his channel right now because of Chris. Even though it's because of you, not actually because of Chris. They're just making their action because they think Chris is a problem. Good luck coming out of this alive, dude. And for the people who saw my comment on sunnyv2's video about Mr. Beast and Guava Juice and like my response to it, if you're gonna keep saying that, oh, I'm sensitive because I'm gay and that's why I can't take criticism, I just want you to know that that's not criticism. I know what bullying looks like. I know what harassment looks like. I've been bullied and harassed most of my life, so I'm just used to it. I know what it looks like, but that's not criticism at all. You're an idiot if you think that's criticism. Especially if you genuinely believe it, you might be mentally slow. I'm autistic. I have schizotypal personality disorder. I have bipolar disorder. I have ADD. I have a couple of other disorders that I need to go talk to psychotherapists about. But I don't let those stop me because I'm aware of my disorders and I know how to slow them down and fix myself. I know how to siphon information. I know how to disprove any information that I receive instead of immediately agreeing with it or believing it. Because unlike a lot of people, I don't hear things and then take it at face value like most of society. I think that is something about society that needs to change and very rapidly soon, is why and how we take things at face value. Confirmation bias is a big bitch. Psychology is one bigger bitch. But we need to start getting used to learning those fields, because if we don't, it's going to be a lot more toxic for us to live next to each other, no matter our opinions. Especially in America.
And Zach responds by saying, I'm sure you think you're very clever, but if you already watched these videos, you know I'm saying the same thing as I did in the tweet. Matt says, didn't even know about Chris from Mr. Beast till sunnyv2's corny ass video popped up into my recommended. I can't imagine trying to dissect someone else's life choices that hard. It's a dude who no longer vibes with the label of being a dude. Why did that need a 9-minute video?
Exactly! Why did it need a 9-minute video? And again, why am I making a 34-minute video responding to this? I don't fucking know. But still, you didn't need to make a 9-minute video responding to a trans person going trans. That is dumb. There's
Dude
nothing
said
else you could really
hurting
say
Mr.
about it.
Beast's
It's just
business. I
dumb.
wish I was hurting with 1 billion views per month. Dumbsville shows this clip from sunnyv2's video with the caption, "Holy fucking shit, sunnyv2 cannot be fucking serious. You know that Chris is a real human being and not a fake Hollywood movie character, right? What are the implications of this? Sorry to every trans person out there, but if you were trans, you were forcing it like Hollywood."
And if we've learned anything from Hollywood in recent years, it's that adding over-the-top LGBT characters for the sake of relatability rarely works as intended, and is often nothing more than a distraction from the premise of the movie or video.
Dumbsville continues by saying, "This is
Ironically, one of the worst points
I've
I've
ever
heard in
seen
a YouTube video.
I'm not exaggerating. Jesus Christ. I've struggled with
Autism my whole life, and I can't think of a bigger
retard
retard than sunnyv2 right now.
Mango Facts response to
Ad!
Heroes.
So I'm gonna pause it.
sunnyv2 walking into his parents' room while they fucking to complain about the unnecessary sex scene.
Forgot about these
J. Aubrey
comments.
says, "This is one of the most dogshit videos I've ever seen. Sunny's conclusion practically blames Chris for not taking the Mr. Beast brand into account before transitioning, laughing my ass off. Imagine showing such little regard for the welfare of a human being." Misty Cat responds by saying, "This isn't the first time I've seen negative trans comments from that creator." Harley from Epic Mealtime says, "I saw the thumbnail on Twitter. I didn't think this was a real video."
No, but it
Facepalm
is.
Emoji. Mudahar says, "I watched this whole video all the way through, and it's tough. I thought being an adult meant you could do whatever you wanted without it hurting anyone else."
Exactly,
I'm sure Chris
Mudahar, I
discussed
agree
all
with
of
you.
this with the closest people in their life. In the end, they're just living their life. Vosh responds by saying, "It's crazy. They'll pretend to support personal choice and free expression, but it's just really obvious they don't want anyone to be trans, and they'll throw out whatever bullshit they can to keep them socially stigmatized." Braden says, "I'm a day one hater of sunnyv2, and proud of it. When the random e-celeb you dislike for just being dumb and annoying and unfunny finally is outed for a legitimate reason to dislike them." Dubus Goobus says, "sunnyv2 is the kind of person to say Laxadaisy Pilot is worse than a Coco Melon Bath song purely because the other has more views, and then would try to find an extremely weak connection to Lackadaisy and Zoophilia because it has furries. Focusing on drama and stats rots your brain." Emily says, "This video is..."
And I can agree with that being as a very good comparison because that is exactly the same fucking thing. It's so dumb. You can't say all LGBTQ plus members are weak-minded or aren't manly. Like, look at me. I'm in a skirt, but guess what I was just in 10 seconds ago? The most stoner-looking outfit you've ever seen in your entire fucking life. So, I'm sorry, but I mean, like, do I have to, like, start lifting up 400 pounds and deadlifting every fucking day to be able to prove that I'm a man to you? Is that what it's going to take? Or is it going to take taking an AR-15 and shooting up a school like you guys want us to? Because that's clearly exactly the mental state of America that you politicians are driving us towards. That point is fucked up with the way it turned. I understand. But no, seriously, like, actually. Is this where you want America to go, ladies and gentlemen? Because collectively, y'all are deciding for it to go this way. Because you can't fucking talk to each other. So, yes, I agree. It's this situation, taking sunnyv2's video, it's exactly like saying all furries are zoophiles and the Lackadaisy Pilot is zoophilic because of the fact that it has anthropomorphic cats. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. I don't know how people are like this. I do. But rhetorically, I don't like knowing that. I don't like finding out how people are like this because most of the time it starts off with the most toxic way. It starts off at home. Manipulation always starts off at home. And that's a big problem in the United States of America. If we were in Germany right now, I bet you we wouldn't have any of these problems. Because guess what? If you break your leg, you get a free repair. Psychotherapy is really cheap there. Everybody gets to drink. Everybody gets to have parties. Guns aren't really sold that much. Gun crime is pretty low in Germany. So, yeah. Let's be like Switzerland, actually. Everybody has a bunker. That's how secure we are. We don't choose to join any party or anything. That's how secure we are. We try to make sure we have information about everything. That's how secure we are. Let's be exactly like Swiss. Because let's face it, neutrality might be the best answer. I agree with you, Switzerland. There's a reason why I might actually move to your guys' country here soon, because a lot of your guys' like beliefs and opinions and stuff like that. I've been watching a lot of videos about Switzerland recently, but you guys have a really good system there. I'm not gonna lie, it's actually pretty beneficial towards a lot of the individuals involved. The only criticism I have of it really is just it's a little too strict sometimes and like too hardcore, I guess, neutral, but that's it. Like right now, the most I would expect you guys to do is give Ukraine artillery pieces or even guns. That's it. You don't need to help them much. Don't help Russia. They're trying to literally invade a country. I understand not jumping into it because it could make you look like you're joining NATO, but do you know why more and more countries are joining NATO? It's because they're working together and literally proving to Russia and China that, well, the three powers there, Russia, China, and Korea, aren't going to be able to do anything against all of us, even if they launch a nuke out of their silo. Us, from a mile away, can shoot it out of the sky and blow it up right above the silo. All those nukes that come out of their facilities, bing, 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 and then all of Russia's gone. All of Korea's gone. All of China's gone. And that's literally their fault. Why do we have to be in fear of this? It's because we can't get along. We can't talk to each other. We immediately result to arguing and trying to disprove each other instead of your own beliefs. Because if you disprove your own beliefs, that is the only way you can appear as intelligent. If you think intelligent people just know everything right off birth, you're stupid. I don't know why people believe that. I do, it's because of the lack of education being actually educational, but long story short, I don't know why. All these kids are thinking about having children at the age of 15. All these kids are thinking about experimenting with every drug possible at the age of 15. Keep in mind, I'm talking from personal experience. I live down here in Colorado, basically one of the more ghetto slums of all of America. Lauren Boebert, if you care about the children of America, you best fix their fucking psychology and make it free. Because I know you don't care. And I know your psychotherapy points are just nothing burgers. They're not actually there. You don't give a fuck about psychology. You don't give a fuck about school shootings. I almost have been in a school shooting. Twice. A guy, when I was in Bookcliff Middle School, was shooting around at random cars and stuff like that. Could have been a school shooting as far as I know. Maybe not. But the one that definitely was, almost a school shooting, only happened to stop because two cops walked out. The guy, standing right outside of the fence of Central High School, saying, "I'm going to shoot up the school, I'm going to shoot up the school." Me and my friends thought he was joking, so we walked past. Then we walked back, and he was still there saying it. And then he was like, "No, look, actually, I have a gun," and then showed his Ruger. Had a Ruger chambered with a 37-round magazine, chambered in 9mm. He clearly is mentally unstable. How did he get a gun? I do agree with the fact that Democrats, know for the fact that guns in America are way too easy to get. They need to have restrictives. They need to have restrictions. But psychology is a really main reason why people are even breaking and using guns to kill innocent people in the first place. Though I digress, it is kind of an important point to bring up because it does lead me into my next video, which is why I'm even mentioning it, is to help, ready you guys for what I'm about to bring up in my next video, which is political. It's a Q&A video, not questions. It's not actually questions and answers, like you ask me questions and stuff like that. You can, and I'll answer them, but it's more dedicated towards political climate questions and stuff like that in general. So I digress.
Quite exemplary of the dogshit way trans people are treated by society, especially on sunnyv2's part. Too Mad says, sunnyv2 can shut the fuck up! Right-wing Cope says, Chris seems oblivious on how this whole thing might impact Jimmy, forgetting that he's achieved this level of success by avoiding this exact type of drama. Absolute brain rot. sunnyv2 thinks being friends with a queer person is drama. This is the type of dude who would get mad at his kid for dating a black person. Wisp says, sunnyv2, after having one of the best rise in popularity, and then hopelessly lose it because he made the worst title for a video about a drama that doesn't even exist? Dark Viper AU says, sunnyv2 has long been the merchant of misery on YouTube. He chases it, he creates it, he feeds off it. Seeing sunnyv2's fanboys defend him is wild. He could release a video about how many dudes MrBeast's mum banged in college, and they'd say, "Bro, he's just reporting facts!" Often much of what Sunny says is bullshit, but even if that wasn't true, some videos don't need to exist. Melty says, sunnyv2 after finding out why he's trending on Twitter. Quobocop says, how sunnyv2 ruined his career with one video. And then Poorly Aged Things tweets out the video that sunnyv2 made a month ago, titled, YouTubers...
I forgot about that video. Sunny, you should add yourself to that list. To the YouTubers who ruin their image with one singular video list.
To ruin their image with one single
I might make a video like that, by the way.
Says, this new sunnyv2 video feels really invasive for all the wrong reasons. Like, why did you make this? You delved into the man's marriage and shit. It's just really off-putting and unnecessary. MrBeast then responds to this by saying, yeah, this is getting absurd. Chris isn't my nightmare. He's my fucking friend. And things are fine. All this transphobia is starting to piss me off. Relin replies by saying, yeah, hope things turn out better for you all. Keep you friends close.
Exactly. MrBeast himself came out and said, yeah, this is getting absurd. Chris is not my, he says, isn't my nightmare, quote unquote. He's my fucking friend. And things are fine, period. All this transphobia is starting to piss me off. Beast himself, the Beast, came out and said, it's not a problem. Why'd you make it one, Sunny? It is your fault that your channel is dying, and it is your fault that now politics are involved in Jimmy's comments when they did not need to be. You started this drama, you better end it appropriately.
Connor Boyack responds to MrBeast by saying, it's not a phobia that most have. It's a concern for what is appropriate to expose children to and normalize in society. The needle...
Okay. I can kind of agree with that. I don't think kids should be wanting to go trans up until they're at least in their 20s. But that's years of mental issues developing and either going away, depending on the scenarios you're involved with, that aren't being taken care of or are being taken care of that could lead to negative repercussions in the future for said individual or individuals that surrounds that one person. It is safer to make sure kids know about, since in 5th grade is when I learned about the puberty video. District 51 makes us watch the puberty video as soon as you get into 5th grade. In 6th grade, you should learn about biology, the rest of your sexual organs, the rest of your internal organs and how they all work, how your psychology can slightly work with your brain, your body, and how your mind might be able to help the pain in your body. Then, next class, psychology. Throughout the rest of high school should be dedicated towards psychology. And then college is deep neurology and psychology and advanced biology. If we teach kids these fields early on, kids will know more about each other, and instead of bullying each other, would give each other real, fierce, hard criticism that could change people's lives for the better, and most of the time will do so. Especially since everybody will be knowing about psychology and how to take criticism better, people will be less likely to take criticism as a direct insult. Bam! Big fix for a lot of small problems that cause big issues. Very simple, but we don't look at it that way because all of us collectively have our own little differences and issues when, you know, shit's gotta happen. But anyway, that's the end of this video. Subscribe to me if you enjoy my content. I guess unsubscribe if you don't. Like it if you like it. Dislike it if you dislike it. Let me know the reason for in the comment section below. Love you all. May you all find peace in the domain, even if you all disagree. Tschüss, and hope you all have a great day. Good luck.